All right, guys, how's it going? My name's Aiden,
I'm Devin.
I'm,
I'm Vivi.
I'm Kyle.
and today we're going to be talking about the movie streaming service industry. So, the first thing you're probably wondering is what is the movie streaming industry? And that's going to be basically the video streaming services industry lets users instantly watch movies and shows online at any time, at any place using an internet connection with no downloads required. So, within this industry, we've identified three main segments. The first one's going to be your subscription video on demand or SVOD. This includes platforms that you've probably heard of like Netflix, Disney Plus. This is where typically users pay a monthly fee for unlimited access to all of the TV shows and movies within the platform. Your second one is going to be your advertising video on demand, such as YouTube and Tubi. All the content on these platforms is free, but the revenue and profit is supported by ads. The third is transactional video on demand. Platforms like Apple TV, Amazon Prime Video. Users on here, they pay per movie or show. I know that recently Apple TV and Amazon Prime have started to switch towards they're kind of a hybrid in a way between subscription and transaction, but they still have options to purchase the movies. So the value chain of this industry starts with content creation or acquisition, then moves to content management and processing, is followed by platform distribution, and finally delivery to users across their devices.
All right. On to industry analysis, the five forces. As you can see, there's kind of a little mix of a little bit positive, negative, and a little in between. As far as threat of entrance and compliments, those are both very those are good things for this industry. As far as entrants go, there's high entry costs and um you really need that brand recognition for consumers to want to pay you to use your platform. Um, of course, there's still going to be some niche markets available that some new entrants could try to go for, but that's really not going to be much of a threat. And complements, smart TVs and internet, obviously. Smart TVs are starting to come out with some of these platforms already on the TV, just programmed into it. And so obviously that's going to be a benefit for any company within the industry. Buyer power and rivalry, those are both a little bit bad for the industry. Buyers have lots of different options to choose from with very low switching costs. And really what they look for is how much it costs. How much does your platform cost? So you got to be pretty price sensitive on what you're charging your consumers. And rivalry, like I said, there's lots of different options for consumers. So there's very saturated market. And again, there's going to be price wars trying to get the lowest price possible for your consumers to try to kind of steal away some of their other consumers. As far as substitutes and supplier power, these are kind of moderate substitutes. There are technically a lot, but traditional media, that's cable or movie theaters, those are already kind of dying out. So you don't really have to worry as much as for those. And as far as gaming, podcasts, and social media, um, as you'll see in a couple of slides, I kind of touched a little bit more on that and how that may not be much of an issue going forward. And onto supplier power, studios do have a lot more leverage over you. Some of them may have high fees that you have to pay or exclusivity contracts. For example, Disney will only put their movies on the Disney Plus platform. So things like that. But overall, there's kind of a little bit a mix of everything between positive, negative, and moderate effects on the industry.
So we looked over and conducted a pest analysis. The political factors includes how Netflix operates under complex content regulations, and there's a lot of different censorship policies and media laws in different countries. Like so, for example, like some governments restrict or ban certain foreign entertainment content, and there's other local content quotas and licensings that are required. There's also a lot of geopolitical tensions that play a major role, like how Netflix suspended operations in Russia following the Ukraine invasion due to reputational risks. And there's also digital service taxation and also trading policies and also privacy regulations that are constantly being made and adjusted, affecting both pricing and profitability. Next on to the economic factors. Netflix success depends heavily on consumer spending. So let's say inflation rises and economies slow down. The households often cancel Netflix streaming subscriptions. And exchange rate fluctuations also impact revenue from Netflix because they report their earnings in US dollars, but they operate across many different currencies. And intense competition in the streaming industry itself also drives up production and licensing costs. And then onto the social factors, consumer behavior has shifted towards on-demand streaming and mobile viewing. So younger audiences like Gen Z or the newer generations are more comfortable with digital platforms and have more demand for these localized content to continuing to grow. And also regional preferences also make local content production essential. And what informal sharing, like friends sharing accounts, are also reducing paid subscriptions. These are all social factors that Netflix will need to consider for in the future. And then finally, the technological factors, so like innovations in streaming technology or like bandwidth and 5G, all of these are fueling Netflix expansion and their technologies. There's also different data analytics and recommendation algorithms with the new AI systems that are key differentiators between these different streaming services. And these infrastructure developments are a main challenge that Netflix and other streaming services will need to focus on to maintain high quality and streaming worldwide. At the same time, there's also different threats such as the way that people view entertainment, like VR or like gaming and other types of platforms.
All right, moving on to the 10-year analysis of the industry. Um, we definitely will continue to see the market overall grow with new consumers subscribing to different platforms. Um, Kind of like how I said earlier, there are a lot of rivals, but we believe that the number of rivals will kind of become more concentrated. There's going to be mergers and acquisitions going on, and the reason being, all of these companies want to give their consumers the biggest library of options possible, and sometimes the best way to do that is to merge with another company that has a more diverse selection. Um, and going off that, as I said earlier, there's still some kind of niche specialist companies that are emerging, but they won't really be able to keep up with the giants, and they're gonna eventually merge as well with them. Um, Hybrid monetization, we kind of touched on that earlier with the your subscription based, advertisement based, or just purchasing. We're starting to see that a lot more now, but it's just going to continue over the next 10 years. Amazon Prime is a great example. They kind of have a little bit of everything already, and you can kind of expect to see some of the other giant players to do something similar. As far as AI goes, you can expect to see more things about voice dubbing or translating different shows or movies to kind of give consumers a little bit more accessibility to what they want to watch. And you can see some augmented or virtual reality come into play. Um, there's a lot with consumers wanting to interact more with what they do with their time. And for for these types of companies in this type of industry, attention is definitely a very valuable resource. And so you can expect to see a lot more interactive attainment, which this is things like providing games, which Netflix is already starting to do. Also, I don't know if any of you have seen Kaleidoscope on Netflix. That was something similar where everybody on their own account had basically a different story all in one TV show based on which order you watch the episodes. So things like these to kind of get the consumer more involved and more interaction with your product is going to just benefit every company as time goes on.
Now, for the competitors in this industry, they're all very known household names. The top five that we determined that are in this industry are Amazon Prime Video, Disney Plus, HBO Max, Hulu, and Netflix. And now one might think that all these companies have practically the same tools that they can offer their clients, but they're actually quite different. Some of the things that make them different are, for example, Amazon Prime Video offers the largest number of movies and television shows out of any service on the entire planet, giving them a large advantage over most companies. They also leverage the Amazon Prime subscription by offering a slightly higher price to include Amazon Prime Video and Amazon Prime, giving them a slight advantage over other competitors. Now, for their target audience, they're very broad, and since they're a global company, they kind of try to just gain as many consumers as possible, giving them just a wide range. Disney Plus is highly tailored to more of a family-friendly environment. As you see, as they have a slightly smaller revenue in the graph given below. While that they are still only a family-friendly environment, they do leverage a link to ESPN Plus that is offered as well with a higher subscription payment, giving them another advantage, which is also offered by Hulu, giving them a similar advantage. HBO Max is a very unique service because they offer a certain class of films and TV shows that have to fall into a certain category known as prestige that is determined by HBO Max employees. They have to fall into this category in order to fall into their movie categories, which is something that's very unique that HBO offers. Hulu offers live sports and live television, which is very unique in comparison to the other competitors, which gives them a very unorthodox advantage in this category, even though they still have a much smaller revenue. Now, the big player in this industry is obviously Netflix. As you can see, they have the largest revenue by quite a large margin. They have the lowest monthly subscription price, which gives them a cost advantage for most of their consumers. And even though this is a fact, they do still have the lowest annual subscriber growth, but this is likely because they already have 310 billion subscribers to their account, which is truly monstrous. Subscription pricing is going to be a major player for this industry, and that's why we believe that it's pretty clear on who we think the winner in this industry is going to be, and that's what we're going to talk about on the next slide.
All right, so we have determined that the winner is Netflix. So Netflix stands out for a couple of key reasons. First one that we came up with was their strong global brand and scale. They have quite an incredible scale with over 300 million subscribers, as Devin previously mentioned, and the largest international footprint of any streaming service. So Netflix is a household name in countries all over the world, whether it's Japan, China, I think, America, obviously. And that reach really allows it to grow fast, spread across more users, and keep investing in better content. Second, Netflix uses a data-driven strategy that gives it a major advantage. It relies on AI and analytics from a variety of different sources to decide what kind of content to create, what to recommend to each user. This personalized experience keeps viewers engaged, helps Netflix understand what audiences want before the competitors do. I think they've really honed in on these algorithms lately. I don't know if y'all have noticed that, but they just seem too accurate lately. But anyway, being the first to really use this data this way gave Netflix a huge head start. They've kind of pioneered a lot of this industry. The third one's going to be the diverse content portfolio and their original programming. So Netflix's original and diverse content plays a major role. The company consistently delivers high quality shows and movies that attract audiences all around the world. So you have Stranger Things. I mean, I would assume that's more geared towards the American audience. Then you got Squid Game. I know that was created in Korea, but that hit big in the United States as well. These originals kind of changed it up. They help set Netflix apart, keep people subscribed. Lastly, Netflix has shown strong adaptability throughout its history. It started as a mail DVD company. It successfully pivoted to streaming when technology changed, so it's adapted over time. And now it's introduced ad-supported plans, which I wasn't a fan of, but reach even more users and increase revenues. So this flexibility shows Netflix's ability to keep evolving as the industry changes. But overall, Netflix wins because it combines global reach, smart use of data, original content, and its adaptability very quickly. We believe that this just makes Netflix an overall clear leader in the video service streaming industry. But yeah, that's about it. We appreciate y'all joining us today.